And after that brief intermission, how would you say that your chronic condition MS has impacted your work life and career choices?
So initially, I think just coping with the idea of a chronic illness and then kind of re-evaluating your ambitions in life, that is a big thing. But once you kind of learn to live with your condition, it becomes a little easier. You do train yourself. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm a workaholic by nature. So I really push myself. I, forget everything when I'm really into a project or into something, and I would generally forget to give myself breaks or forget to eat or forget to take care of myself in the process. And then once this happened, I think I learned or trained myself to prioritize my health first and work later. Like, nobody's going to give me medals for staying up all night and getting work done. Nobody's going to give me medals for being exhausted. So I kind of had to retrain my brain in a way to prioritize the work-life balance. So I think that's the major change I made in my life once I got diagnosed.
Definitely. Do you feel like people at work and even at home kind of understand the complexity and strain MS takes on you?
No. It's an invisible disease. And the amount of pain you feel on a daily basis, I think almost things like, even the numbness, 2 fingers are always numb. I'm used to it now at this point. So I'm not going to complain about it every day. Or I wake up in pain almost every day. It almost feels like a truck ran over me, and my spine is very stiff, and my rib cage gets, literally in pain. I get spasms. Getting out of bed is actually the toughest thing I have to do. But you have to do it, right? That's life. Yeah. You still have to wake up at a certain time, and, your body, once it starts moving, will recover. But that initial pain is something I don't even think people I live with would completely understand, unless I physically tell them, oh, today is a difficult day. Or for me, every day is a difficult day. But some days are extra hard. So, I don't even think people at work, and I'm the type of person who I was very private about things like that. And of course, on the surface, I look perfectly fine. Yeah. So if I almost felt like if I was complaining, people would think of it as drama, or maybe I'm making it up, or maybe somebody's not taking me seriously. And I think I've just stopped caring, honestly. When I'm not well, I'm not well. I set boundaries by myself. If I am unable to do something and people are not understanding that my health is not allowing me to do something, I used to go along, and I don't anymore. I set boundaries and say, okay, no, today this is not a possibility. Today I need to focus on this. Or it's not like I miss deadlines. It's not like I miss out on work, but it's just I would not go the extra mile on the days I feel like my energy is in, a very limited amount. Mm-hmm. Even things around the house, working around the kitchen, I've kind of started streamlining my process so it doesn't overly exhaust me. There's not a lot of movement involved. There's a lot of things that are consolidated. I have to organize what I do even when I cook. Yeah. So I'm not constantly flustering around the kitchen, because I know that is, again, burning extra energy, adding to my lethargy, because MS is also a lot of lethargy. You feel a burnout more than the normal person. And I don't think people who don't have it don't fully understand.
They don't understand, right?
The amount of daily struggle internally you have to deal with. And unless you actually make it known, it's something you deal with very internally. And I feel like it's almost isolating. Even Definitely. Your partner would not see it until you wince at their touch or something, and something like, I'm in pain today. Mm-hmm. So, I know no matter how much supportive they're trying to be or will be, it's still very hard. I think the only way you can do it is if you tell them what you're going through. And even then, you can't expect anyone to feel what you feel or empathize with you the way you need to. Mm-hmm. So I think it is isolating, but I think you get used to it.
You get used to it. And that's kind of sad, actually, that you have to get used to it instead of kind of two like forces kind of meeting each other halfway. Like, you need to be met with some amount of like understanding and empathy, but it's really hard for people in like society as we know it to kind of just like bridge that gap and actually start to feel that this is just like a huge problem that we're facing. And every time I have an interview with somebody, it's the same thing coming up and up again for everyone.
Yeah.
So they just don't feel like anyone understands, and that it's extremely isolating. And that's also why I did this project, because like it's not fair for somebody to feel isolated and feel like they just have to get used to their needs not being met and always having to carry the extra weight.
Yeah.
And like also the masking too, having to like basically reinvent your life and then mask on a daily basis like all the struggle that you're dealing with on a daily basis. It's a lot. And
yeah,
like,
and it's purely internal, so
it's purely internal.
That's why I say I actually have to. I don't like communicating that I want this, I need this, I need this, but I have to go against my nature and communicate to be able to get the support I need.
Communication.
It can't come out other way, because I can't even expect anyone to understand. It's not even that I'm blaming anyone.
Yeah.
It's just I cannot expect anyone to feel what I'm feeling, because it's very hard to even explain to other people what kind of pain I'm feeling. Like right now sitting next to you, my shoulder is in extreme pain.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be fine on the surface, but unless I tell you, you will never know.
No, won't know, right?
Yeah. So
that's
and you can't expect people to be mind readers. So
you can't
I'm
either.
kind of playing devil's advocate here. I know there's people in pain don't feel the support, but at the same time, you kind of have to also train yourself to communicate, because you can't expect anyone to mind read or feel what you're feeling until you tell them.
Bridging off of that, I want to ask if there was like 3 things that you could, like 3 ways in which, whether it's your work or home life or whoever it may be, if there were 3 things that other people could do that would help you feel like you had less of a burden with like pain on a daily basis, what would it be? Coming from work, coming from family, everything else.
3 things, you say?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I would do is just not feel like having to explain.
Yeah.
If someday I don't have the energy to do something, just me saying that should be enough for another person to understand. Because MS is not so widely understood as an illness, a lot of people I've come across that don't know what it is. It's very hard to like start from the start and have to explain exactly how. And I've tried to come up with more relatable ways to explain what I do, what I have, and saying, think of my body or my nervous system as like wiring, and MS, your immune system starts attacking the protective covering around the wiring, so you kind of short circuit. Yeah. So I use electrical terms. I have an electrical engineer for a husband, so of course.
Yeah.
But I think that's the explanation that makes more sense to people. But it's almost hard to. I would love to just one day be able to call in work or tell people at home that I just don't have the energy today.
Not today.
And no questions asked. They'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Just you do you, stay in bed, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
And just give me that space. I would love that. Number 1. I wouldn't know what else. Number 2, I would love to have some sort of extra allowance for sick time, but that's again asking me for preferential treatment. I don't like that either. Yeah. And maybe number 3, I mean, I do have the support at home when I need it. Even at work, I don't know. I can't think of number 3. I think those two are the major things.
That's okay. I think, honestly, even the fact that you're like not even able to think of it, I think is just shows like how resilient you are, and that you've already like adapted so much to the point where you don't rely on anybody else and you're just so self-sufficient. It's probably a good idea too to like think about like how other people can also help you too, because at the end of the day, regardless of whether or not people are able to see and like visualize and feel, empathize with your condition, there still should be like communication to the point where like either work, is able to like understand like.
So yeah, definitely. It just almost feels like sometimes other things come in the way, and you tend to put yourself aside. And I've learned the hard way not to do that, because that's not advisable. If I push myself too far, it would put me in a relapse. That means I'm out of commission for a good 2 months.
Yeah.
And I think just the fear of that kind of keeps me in line. But sometimes it is hard to prioritize your health, your well-being over dependence, over work, over other things that are required of you.
Yeah.
So obviously, being an adult, you're responsible for so many things. So it's a hard juggling act to try to, prioritize yourself and then make sure everyone else in your family is taken care of, especially if you're, the caretaker or somebody, you have either other people depending on you. So yeah, that is hard to prioritize as well. Sometimes that takes on a bit of a back burner.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty interesting to hear about, because I feel like the inherent the intrinsic motivation to take care of your health, I assume like everyone always has like some amount of like, oh, I want to take care of my health because I don't want to like get sick, I don't want to relapse, I don't want to do this. But actually a lot of people who like have chronic illness, like they just want to like live day to day. They don't really view their health as like something that's like long term they're able to take care of, because it's already so out of their control.
Right.
So just living day to day is enough, but then all these other issues like progress and build up over time, and it's like, oh wow, I didn't know it was getting that bad, like I didn't realize I was like putting myself in such jeopardy. And then you're like, oh well, like it doesn't even matter.
I mean, I've been guilty about that with my diet sometimes. I'm like, oh, let me just eat this unhealthy thing today and I'll think about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think on my trigger level, like cold and stress and exhaustion, at least I know when to stop and rest. I've learned that over the years, not to ignore those things.
Yeah.
The bigger things, but yeah, things like overall wellness, health, exercise, some days you're just like, it's true, it is day to day, because it's such a unpredictable thing. I don't know, tomorrow I may wake up and, my leg doesn't work, or my arm doesn't work, or I can't move this. You never know. It happens. It can happen even after 10 years of it being dormant. So it is kind of seize the day kind of approach is fine, but I feel like you kind of need to balance it. Even in the day-to-day, I almost feel like I still need to... I'm a bit better at looking at my triggers.
Yeah.
Even going, oh, let's do this today, and, But yeah, I would love to... I am a foodie, sadly, so I'd love to...
Me too.
I'd love to have more self-control when it comes to diet, and be more like, okay, I need to be more disciplined in this. And some days it's not possible. Some days you just want to eat that ice cream, you know? No matter how much inflammation it can cause. So I don't know, it's hard. You can't get too stuck into that rut either. I've seen people who get too disciplined and forget to enjoy life.
Yes.
And then there's also the people who don't care at all, and then it affects their health, and they're like, oh, I didn't even realize that was happening. I feel like a balance makes more sense. Like, just being in tune with your body as well, if you're seeing warning signs, but at the same time, you can't just not enjoy food.
Enjoy life. Not enjoy life, right? That's like so fundamental to like taking care of yourself with chronic pain too, because a lot of chronic pain is like about lifestyle. It's about diet, it's about movement, and finding that balance. Mental health. It's really, it all starts from the mental. Right.
Your mental health plays a huge part in it. I mean, if I'm depressed, I automatically physically start feeling sick. Or if I'm doing something like, good, exciting, fun for me, even though it's not healthy, but it releases some dopamine, which does help in dealing with chronic pain.
Definitely. So it's just about like that balance of like kind of indulging and having those experiences once in a while, those fun experiences, but also knowing when like discipline is important.
Right.
And part of discipline is actually just like staying true to like those commitments that you have with yourself. That's okay, what foods do trigger inflammation in my body? How is like honoring like staying away from certain foods, staying away from certain like bad habits, how is honoring that actually helping my health and is doing like a great justice to myself? Like that's so important.
Right.
And
honestly, it's all about balancing it all.
Balancing it all.
You can't be 100% healthy. You're not a robot. Like,
you're not a robot, literally.
Right, exactly.
You're a human being.
You're human. You need those dopamine releases from time to time, but it's like you have to make sure it's not this way or that way. You have to stay somewhere in the middle.
Definitely. Okay, and so well, actually, I got so lost in the sauce. Let me see what the questions are. I feel like we covered a lot of these, but okay, the last thing I want to ask is, in terms of like education and like what you hope to see moving forward, like in the future, like as a progressive society, what do you wish people would come to understand more about living with chronic illnesses? What kinds of changes would you like to see in the workplace and also just like in education?
I think in general, I would love to see more education or awareness about autoimmune diseases, because it seems like they're not very, well, they are now a little bit, but I do see a little bit more than from when I was diagnosed back a decade ago, but I still feel like there needs to be a bit more awareness when it comes to autoimmunes and what they do and how they are, like things like cancer. Everybody knows what cancer is. I know everybody knows what it does to your body. Like, the amount of awareness around cancer is insane. But, you know, nothing against cancer. No offense to cancer patients. But I'm just saying, in terms of autoimmunes, they're a little bit complicated and they can vary. There's so many different kinds. And I feel like our education system, or in general, the general awareness in society needs to increase. So, especially since it is something that is more common now, happens a lot. I mean, there's multiple factors. Nobody knows the real cause. It could be vitamin D deficiency. It could be this. It was something in their diet, some life trauma that started it. But, you know, things like lupus and MS, and there's so many autoimmune like diseases out there, and I feel like not enough people know about them or how to handle patients who struggle with that. And I think that's something I would love to see.
Definitely. I don't even think a lot of people know what autoimmune is. Like, I bet, like, I've genuinely talked to some people.
It has become a buzzword a bit.
Really?
But not as much as I would love.
Not as much as you'd like. Especially, like, when it comes to treatment, how do you support people who have that, especially?
Yes, it is fairly new. There's still research going on treatments, and there's all sorts of new stuff coming up, but unless you're physically a neurologist who's dealing with that kind of thing, the medical society is not as well aware as they need to be.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. Let me think. This was amazing. Thank you so much for doing this interview.
Of course.
Is there anything else you want to say? Just for think about
all those fellow chronic pain survivors out there, stay strong and stay positive.
Stay strong and stay positive. I love it. Oh my gosh. And thank you.
You're welcome.